back in 2012, I had an almost year-long bacterial vaginosis infection that would not go away. To make a long story short, my grandmother came to me in a dream and essentially told me what to do to fix my problem. And it worked. Target is like, I'm not gonna cry because I got this makeup on, but like, because without them, you know? Yeah.
In the project for the social acceptance of Black people, Black women are producers and repositories of Black symbolic power. Black symbolic power means the images, sounds, aesthetics, as well as the disidentifications that resonate with and permeate through Black communities, as well as the ideologies that undergird the images, sounds, and aesthetics we hold dear. We can understand the work that Black women, cultural producers, do within culture as creators of wealth through Black symbolic power, cultural capital that gets converted into economic capital for white corporations. This wealth, however, commodifies the embodied discourses of Black femininity and reproduces them for a public and many times unknowing audience of spectators. I love this book by Black because the author is a Black woman, and she goes on to many examples of how like cultural capital is used, kind of taken out of the power of the Black community, but commodified. And I think that a lot of times I do this on my channel. I talk about how a lot of times Black people are manipulated in our culture, and sometimes our spirit is just put into mainstream culture and everybody else tries to label or profit from it. So that's why I really enjoyed this book. So this ties into the topic for today on the Honeypot. And this isn't to bash the creator per se, but it's just to look at how it kind of started and how it has transitioned into like being sold. So the Honeypot is known as the first complete feminine care system powered by herbs. For many Black women, that was important as our reproductive system is very vulnerable and precious to us, yet a lot of us feel like we're often under attack. For instance, a lot of us aren't treated, a lot of us are ignored, and a lot of us have a lot of healthcare issues with our reproductive system. From the earliest days of history in the United States, we've often been a spectacle, operated on, and just mistreated when it comes to like gynecology. So to hear a Black woman create a company like the Honeypot, it was very uplifting and it was very trusting. A lot of times we're wary of like a lot of healthcare products, about the medical industry in general because of how we've been treated. And so a lot of times we're just like, I don't know what to trust. I don't know who to trust. And I think that we have to look at this for the bigger issue. That's why I said I can't necessarily blame Beatrice Dixon, who was like the co-founder of the company. I know there are bigger issues at large, but again, having someone like listen to her own body and having someone say, you know what, oh, this could work for Black women, for women in general. Again, it seemed very relieving, and I didn't think it was like the total solution, but it was an option that we didn't have. And so I'm going to circle back to what I was saying about like products that are often marketed to Black women and often are consumed by Black women for various reasons. And there's this nonprofit organization called the Environmental Working Group, which is a nonprofit organization. And they decided to do like a study on like all of these products and how they're consumed by Black women and how harsh and toxic it is to our bodies. And so I'm going to read it, and I'm going to leave some pictures up so you can, look at it. And I'll also leave the link in the description if you would like to further research the study. Because Black women appear to buy and use more personal care products, the limited options could mean they are being exposed to more potentially hazardous chemicals. Black people make up about 13% of the United States population, but by one estimate, African American spending accounts for as much as 22% of the $42 billion a year personal care products market, suggesting that they buy and use more of such products, including those with potentially harmful ingredients, than America as a whole. In their report, they found the following. An analysis of ingredients in 1,177 beauty and personal care products marketed to Black women, about 1 in 12 was ranked highly hazardous on the scoring system of EWG's Skin Deep Cosmetic Database, a free online resource for finding less hazardous alternatives to personal care products. The analysis also found fewer than 1/4 of the products marketed to Black women scored low in potentially hazardous ingredients, compared to about 40% of the items in Skin Deep marketed to the general public. The percentage of products scored as quote-unquote high hazard was about the same for both market segments, but the disparity in products scored as low hazard suggests there may be a narrower range of choices for safer scoring products specifically marketed to Black women. Potential hazards linked to product ingredients include cancer, hormone disruption, developmental and reproductive damage, allergies, and other adverse health effects. The worst scoring products marketed to Black women were hair relaxers and hair colors and bleaching products. Each of these categories had an average product scoring indicating high potential hazard. Now, when it is known that this society does not put Black women's interests at heart, it's just, again, really horrendous to say the least. And so now I said all of that, let's just get to the creation of Honeypot and how it was sold. So Honeypot was founded in 2012 by Beatrice Dixon and Simon Gray. The company sells feminine hygiene washes, menstrual pads, tampons, and other personal care products, which can be found in more than 33,000 U.S. stores, including large chains like Target and Walmart. I think what made Honeypot interesting, besides like being created as like a naturally organic product, was that when the owner came out, it was like basically through Target's Black History Month, where they like promote a lot of entrepreneurs and especially within the Black community. But some people, when her ad was shown, specifically a lot of racist white people, they were upset and they felt that, you know, she didn't deserve this. Like a lot of people disagree with the Black History Month, and they began to leave 1-star reviews of her product online. In the commercial, Beatrice basically mentioned the term Black girls. They took it the wrong way. They said, well, why isn't this basically for all people? And a customer basically says, there were like different reactions where customers were saying things like, I can't support a company in good faith and that is openly racist about their customers. Someone else says, apparently it doesn't work on white skin and I wish my white daughters could use their products. Someone else went on to say, Black girls are empowered using this product. I guess white girls aren't. I'll be letting Target know about this racist company. So there was a bunch of like Twitter rants again and negative reviews. It really seemed like at one point that Honeypot probably wouldn't get off the ground because of this backlash. However, the owner went on to say that she didn't mean that this was exclusive for Black girls, that basically she didn't even have the expectation that it would have gotten the backlash that it did. And she went on to say that she was a Black-owned business and that her target was Black customers. But I think we're human and race shouldn't be a conversation, but it's the society that we live in. She went on to say, we understand the responsibility as a Black-owned business that we have to be successful, because if we're not doing anything for the culture to move it forward, so that race isn't a topic.
Atlanta-based company is hit with backlash because of a simple commercial. Well, the Honeypot, it's a plant-based feminine product line, was flooded with negative reviews because some say the ad isn't inclusive.
CBS 46's Ashley Thompson, she spoke with the company's founder, who is taking the high road.
The Honeypot is a Black-owned company that was founded in 2012. It's based right here in Atlanta, and I spoke with its owner, who's addressing some recent negativity.
Retailers that were into
One line in this Target ad for the Honeypot has thrust the company into a national conversation about race.
The reason why it's so important for Honeypot to do well is so the next Black girl that comes up with a great idea, she could have a better opportunity.
The Black-owned business was flooded with negative reviews after the spot ran, some even calling the Honeypot racist for shouting out only Black girls.
I'm never surprised by something I don't have control over.
Beatrice Dixon, the founder of the plant-based feminine care line, tells me her products are for everyone, not just girls of color. She says all she wanted to do was shed light on inequality in the business world.
Basically, between 2017 and 2018, Project Diane reported that out of the $425 billion that was invested into businesses, 0.06% of that went to Black women-led businesses.
The internet backlash causing many to go out and support the Honeypot. Its products now flying off the shelves at Target stores where sales have spiked.
We have external washes, we have wipes, we have a line of organic cotton tampons, we have menstrual pads.
We spoke with shoppers who are in Dixon's corner.
It's saying that we matter too, and that we're allowed to be entrepreneurs and create businesses and be a role model for other young girls.
But I think it's a great thing that she's doing it for people like us.
I have great gratitude for everybody that has supported us, for everybody that has bought our products, and I love you. Thank you.
Dixon says she hopes she can continue to pave the way for young Black entrepreneurs. In Atlanta, Ashley Thompson, CBS 46 News.
Okay, so aside from like the owner trying to clean up what was said and not being construed, Black women just rallied behind her and said, you know what? We're going to buy her products. We're going to give her good reviews. And we're not going to let nobody pretty much, come towards a Black woman-owned business. And I think in the totality, a lot of Black business owners do rely on Black customers because, again, a lot of times we're in our own communities. We understand each other. And it's hard being like a small business owner, particularly a Black business owner. So I think, again, when she mentioned, that this was for Black girls, she understood that Black people would buy this. So again, Black women got on social media and they were showing like pictures of her product. We're not going to let this business fail at Target. We're going to support her either way we go, and we're going to leave positive reviews. When we rallied behind the Honeypot and when we decided to give our energy to that, to trust her products, that's why a lot of people got really confused about her selling it because it was successful. And a lot of people felt like also when this sells, more than likely the ingredients are going to change because it's going to be mass produced. And these corporations do not have us in mind.
It was a viral moment that happened, right? Somebody had posted that the Honeypot had changed their feminine wash ingredients.
Yes.
And then I saw people saying, I felt like it was different, it was irritating, so on and so forth. And then you did offer an explanation. But let's talk about what happened with the Honeypot, why you did change the ingredients.
Well, with the way that the global supply chain is set up right now, there's certain ingredients that just aren't available anymore, right? Because they're in high demand. And so we needed to essentially make some changes to our formulation to work with ingredients that were plentiful, that we could continue to scale, right? And that's just the thing that happens. Things happen. Things have to change. We're not the only company that does this, right?
I was saying the same thing where, I have a coffee company, finding the tins, finding the lids, even at the juice bar, getting cups, honey, buying actual honey.
Yeah.
And the juice bar has went up in price, I think 6 times more than what it used to be.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are struggling with those. Like, are we raising the prices? Are we just going to make less of our product? What is it that we can do?
Right. I think
one of the biggest issues people just wanted to know is the Honeypot still Black owned?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
We started this we started this in 2012, so we've been here for over a decade, me and my sis.
Yeah.
So it is,
Now, why do people think it was sold?
Well, I think there's 2 reasons, right? Because, typically when you go into business and you're creating something at an enterprise level, right, you're going to get investors, right? And every company that we know, that we love and enjoy, especially from Black founders, we have funds that are coming from people that don't look like us. That's the only way you can scale.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can scale.
Frustrating.
And so what's really frustrating is having this kind of conversation about us selling out. No, in order for us to produce what we have, how many stores we're in, we need money, we need capital, and we get it from where we can. And of course, you guys know about private equity, and so we have private equity. And so we have to start changing this conversation, this metrics of what success is, especially for us, right? Because we hold ourselves to this weird standard.
Yeah.
And what gets frustrating for me is like when you see, you know, guys that I admire like Robert Smith, who just pays
my guy
400 tuitions, $34 million one day, one check. You have to have liquidity to do that. Our fam, Jay Brown, Jay-Z, Mossy, you know, partner ventures. They've gone, 400 million now in 3 rounds? And they only invest in consumer, right, and culture. So it's like, you have to get to a space where you get in monies so you can actually grow your company and scale, and you don't do it for free, so then you can take some chips off the table for yourself. And then guess what we do? We put it back in the community. My sister and I, we're going to have a fund one day. And we think about this often. How do we create a fund where we can support other people that look like us, feel like us, humans that are into consumer goods and trying to make the world differently? And that's like a passion of ours. So yeah, it's this weird thing. Like, you know, my sister was here last time. I was like, I gotta come because it's us.
Right.
It's us, and we're sabotaging ourselves.
It's just people who don't know business, because it's strange when people say things like, well, you don't ever see white companies do that. They do it all the time. That's all they do. That's literally all they do.
Now, Beatrice, you did say that you wish you would have communicated
absolutely
more.
Absolutely. And the reason is, you know, we were out of stock for a few months because of global supply chain issues. And, you know, and so we had a whole campaign, a whole strategy that was going to be able to launch. We were going to be able to communicate things properly at the same exact time, right, that we decided to kind of bring this to the forefront. We were also just launching our new innovation in Target, right? And so we were like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and launch these washes because we have them. They're here. No reason to be out of stock. No reason to keep getting these complaints. And you know, because people want their products and we want to give it to them. But when, you know, there's only so much control that you have.
Right.
And because we launched new innovation at the same time as bringing this new formulation, which was months before it was going to which was months before it was going to launch, we kind of put some focus on our new innovation because that's what you do. You have to, right? You have to tell people what it is and make sure that they and communicate that it's out there. You know, and I think that we could have done a better job, but it was really just a quick decision that we made because we wanted to make sure that we could supply the demand. You know, and this is just a thing that happens, right?
And these are still plant-derived ingredients.
Absolutely. Plant-derived, naturally derived, clean, beautiful, you know, efficacious, right? You know, we did a clinical trial and we got some results back. Essentially, it came back that the product is non-irritating, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that a product is going to work for everybody. Right? Like even our old formulation that we had, there are humans that cannot use that formulation, right? And so, you know, the cool thing is that we make so many products, but not every human is going to be able to use every product. Right.
And that goes for any type of skincare product.
Absolutely.
There's some things that work for certain people, some things that irritate other people. Everything is not across the board.
Absolutely. Exactly. But we're grateful, you know, and had no issue, still have no issue saying that we could have done a better job communicating. You know, but we're humans. We're, you know, and we're working through our business and just trying to make sure that we're serving in the best way possible. And here we are.
People feel some ownership, even though people really didn't own it, to be honest. People feel betrayed, and I think people felt like it was personal to them. Consumption is typically considered from two perspectives in academic scholarship, from corporation institutions that are creating products, marketing, and narratives to lure consumer dollars, and from consumers who consider how and why they use their dollars in particular ways. So again, I love this book because it talks a lot about cultural capitalism. And I think that it's worth studying because there are times where, you know, you'll have people, representatives who talk about different issues of various ethnic groups, But again, when it becomes like, I think about Shirley Chisholm, how she says, I'm unbought and unsold, the narratives do change when someone's controlling the dollar or your livelihood. And so now I'm going to get into the public opinion piece, and I'm going to get to my conclusion. So one user says, they're going to put carcinogenic ingredients in it for cheap production. I hate that most of the Black-owned good products get purchased from the whites, and they never turn out the same again. Glad she invested in herself. Now she doesn't even have to work again. I get nervous when this happens because the products usually change. Happy for her, and hopefully they won't change. I just pray the ingredients don't change because that's usually what happens when a company is bought out. When white people buy Black-owned business brands, they change the quality of the product, and it's much worse. She remains in charge just to appear it's still quote-unquote Black-owned. They most likely asked her to remain for this reason. Her panty liners look cool in action, get me every time. She already changed the products. It's not the same. So happy for you. We never hold on to anything or build from ground up. Most times we think we can recreate that magic, but most likely it'll never happen again. $360 million seemed like generational wealth, but we know famous people that run through that kind of money in their own lifetime. The Black man that created Hidden Valley Ranch sold it for $8 million in 1972, which is a lot of money at those times, but Hidden Valley now is worth billions. We haven't learned anything. Let her be. Black wealth is needed. She can and will create more. It's okay for her to sell her product the same way we sell our intellect daily for jobs that pay way less. Most people won't see $20 million in their lifetime at these 9 to 5s. Someone goes on to say, I remember when them white folks was on her ass a couple of years ago, Black women came through and made sure her reviews and sales stayed on the up and up, and now it's theirs. I really don't see many people walking away from $360 million. It's her product, and she can sell it if she wants. The way I can help my family and my people with that money is unimaginable. What she did was what she felt was best for her. What she created had Black people that followed her, but believing she was about establishing something for Black people to want and be proud of. She showed Black ownership, a pride in ourselves and creations, the dream of not always being consumers, but owners. Then she bolted, did what most Black people who create something, who have a chance to sell it to the very people who don't see us, do. They sell it. Someone else says, Kim is here. I was looking for an issue, but I couldn't find one. Someone else says, I don't think we should hold Black-owned businesses to the same standard. I think this company should have announced their changes because 1, their brand was catapulted by Black women, and 2, no need to follow the same cycle as other vulture companies. Be transparent, be loyal, be authentic. I'm not counseling her because that's ridiculous in my opinion, but I am disappointed. Not as disappointed as I am in people willingly trusting the comments instead of the CEO. She would be like, quote unquote, we changed the ingredients to make the products last. And Twitter be like, she sold it to the white man. I think it's a little wild how we as people tend to be entitled to Black businesses. I see a lot of responses saying, quote unquote, we're not mad she rebranded. We're just mad we didn't get notice or heads up. When businesses rebrand, change ingredients all the time, but the second a Black-owned business does the same, it's horrible, and let's cancel them. From a business standpoint, not mad, especially when shelf life can either make or break a business, because then that's where you have to discount or throw away products, which essentially turns into money lost. While organic is great, we all know the shelf life isn't more than a couple months. And you also have to look at it from a consumer standpoint as well, because I wouldn't want to purchase a product at a specific price point and they have to constantly repurchase because now the items smell like mold. Some of those comments are from before she officially sold it, but nonetheless, I think y'all get the point. So now I'm going to get to my conclusion. Well, I do agree with some of what people were saying about people feeling entitled to a company. But again, I think when you tug at people's heartstrings, and again, when people feel close to a product, they get comfortable. I think that when it comes to Black health is very important. And so I think overall, I'm concerned about longevity, and hopefully she will continue to do work that is truly based in taking care or prioritizing Black people. I remember people like Dr. Sebi, who, had his center in Honduras, and how people would come there to get healing, etc. I think her being from Atlanta, where it's like a lot of wellness and Black excellence, or just Black people who are there and who do various things, whether it's a doula or herbalist, is great. And I think that if she connected similarly to those people, or even if she wouldn't have sold, that possibly she could have gotten an investment similar to Sebi, where he even had like Chinese investors, where he was able to create a center larger than where he started. And you see how like different celebrities have gone down there, and Black people in general, to prioritize their health. So I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, that of course I don't know what went on behind the scenes. I do think sometimes people are intimidated or bullied, or they might not see themselves growing. I don't know. But I do hope that overall, the co-founder will continue to advocate for Black women's research. And I think that if your ancestors brought this to you in a dream, and Black women kept your businesses thriving after you were basically attacked, I think it's more than fair to continue to at least contribute to like the research of Black health, Black female health, etc. And these are my thoughts, and my thoughts are my own. What do you think? Let me know down below. And thank you for listening to Books and Looks TV. I'll see y'all next time.
Honeypot, we are literally here to serve the vagina. And it's not just with products. It's with love. It's with humility. It's with respect to make the world a better place. Honeypot is really to help people, for them to love themselves, love their body, be good to their vagina. I had BV for what felt like forever. Nothing worked. My grandmother, who walks with me, we were in a place. Everything was white. You just handed me a piece of paper, and it had a list of ingredients: coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, lavender oil, garlic, grapefruit seed extract. And I just started repeating those ingredients over and over again. And then finally she told me, wake up. And so I woke up, and I wrote it down. I worked at Whole Foods. I went to work. In a couple of days, I made myself a formula because I have a background in pharmacy.
Has she ever come back to you to deliver any other things to you?